This is the new Boston Fire Station, the place where your friends and neighbors do the hard work of protecting the health and safety of the community. But there's quite a few problems with this old building, and they fall into 4 categories: safety, hygiene, space, and hazardous conditions. Let me show you what I mean. You see these black marks on the wall? That's accumulated soot from the diesel fumes from the fire trucks because there's no ventilation. Now, most modern fire departments have ventilation systems that hang from the ceiling and connect to the exhaust pipes of the fire trucks to take the fumes out of the building. But those systems are heavy, and this old ceiling, which is only 2x4 construction to begin with, is already overtaxed with things hanging from it. Structurally, to change that would be a big, expensive job. This is the inside of the fire department's computer, and you can see the diesel soot that has been built up. This computer is only a year old. I don't like to think about what that soot is doing inside people's lungs. Decontamination, where the personnel wash contaminants off their equipment after a fire, happens on a table set up in the middle of the bay, wherever they can find room. There's no special decontamination area. And where do those contaminants go? We'll get to that in a minute. This small room is the kitchen. As you can see, it opens directly into the apparatus bay. Now, most modern fire department construction has isolation barriers to prevent contaminants and fumes from coming into areas where people are working and eating. Remember those contaminants I talked about? They all get washed into this drain. And where does the drain go? Right out to the river. Needless to say, this is a very bad situation environmentally. This is the office, which is also right adjacent to the apparatus bay. So there's nothing to stop fumes and contaminants from coming in here where people are working. And it's also very small, which brings us to the next problem: space. This one small bathroom serves all the volunteers. As you can see, there's not a lot of space. If you want any privacy to change out of your gear after a fire, you're going to have to wait your turn. And there's no shower. If you get any hazardous chemicals or materials on you at a fire, you're going to have to take them home with you and shower off there. This is where the communications equipment is. In the event of a major emergency, all kinds of people have to squeeze into this small space, and a lot more are coming and going. And as you can see, there's no place to lay out maps and other equipment and materials that might be needed. This is the meeting room. Sometimes there are upwards of 50 people in this room, which means that some have to stand up the whole time, which makes it really hard to do training. The space in and around apparatus is basically non-existent, which can make getting into your gear quite a challenge. And imagine 7 or 8 people doing this at the same time in this small space. It also becomes a safety issue if someone gets stuck between a wall or a piece of apparatus and a moving vehicle. According to modern standards, fire department doors should be 14 feet by 14 feet. These doors are only 10 by 11, which means it's a very tight squeeze for the trucks to get in and out. And at least one truck can't fit in here at all. It has to be stored 10 minutes away up on Hilltop. It also limits which of the surrounding towns can be called in for backup in case all the units are called out to a major fire, because a lot of their trucks can't fit in here either. You see this beam? It holds up the entire back half of the building. The problem is engineers say it's way too small for the load that it's carrying and really needs to be replaced because it's a major safety issue. The building lacks adequate emergency exits. This stairwell, which comes off the back of the meeting room, should go directly out to an exit door instead of an angle like this. Also, it goes right past these electrical panels, which is not up to code, and the walls are not 1 hour fire rated as they should be. To get to the basement, you have to go outside the building and through a bulkhead. Watch your head. The floor of the basement is well below the floodplain. You can see from these marks on the wall how high the water has risen in past floods, above the bottom of the furnace and the air compressor. You know, when this building was constructed in 1973, they were going out on maybe 20 calls a year. Last year, they went out on 500 calls. Now, it's true, it's possible to address all the issues here, but it would be cost prohibitive. And in the end, you'd probably get 10 or 20 more years out of the building. Whereas a brand new building built to code and set up to accommodate the work that needs to be done to ensure the health and safety of this community would give you 40 years or more. If you'd like more information, or you'd like to come down and take a look at some of these things yourself, get in touch with Fire Chief Dan McDonald or Fire Ward Scott Hunter. And please share this video with your friends. Thanks.